All right, guys. Jameson and Alex here. Today we're going to be going over a subclass from Sebastian Crowe's Guide to Drakkenheim, which this is from Dungeon Dudes. We've not looked at this book at all. We want to do it fresh,
Yep.
completely. We don't even know what subclass we're going to do. We're going to pick one right now. We're just going to look at the table of contents, see what we like by the name alone, and then we will rate it, which is sometimes what we do on our own anyways.
This is not anything different. Everybody's getting to see our process
exactly.
Before we get started here.
So if you're new to the channel or the series, we're going to go over all the abilities gained in the subclass. Then we're going to rate the roleplay, combat, and synergy based on how the abilities gained in the subclass improve on the base class abilities.
Pretty much, yeah.
So, all right, Alex, let's look here what we got. We have, I think there is a new class as well, which we're not going to do that today. Barbarians, Path of Haze Rager, Old Gods, Barbarians, Doomsayer, Cleric, Shadow Domain, Druids, Contamination Circle, Fighters, Commander, Monk, Arcane Hand, Way of Serpent, Paladin, Oath of Hexes, Ranger, Urban Ranger, Rogue, Smuggler, Sorcerers, Delirium Soul, Warlock, Cosmic Patron, or Flesh Patron, and Wizard, Malfeasant. Which one sounds the most?
Okay, so 3 come to mind of the choice for me. Haze Rager Barbarian sounds like I explained that,
Sure.
Serpent Monk, because I'm thinking I want to go like dodgeball, like
Yep.
or the Delirium Soul Sorcerer. Those are the 3 that kind of come to my brain.
All right. Let's do. I feel like we haven't done a monk in a while. Let's do the Serpent.
Snake Monk.
Way of the Serpent. Let's zoom out and see this art for real quick. Okay. It's got like the scaly arm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're going to have some kind of
an
improved armored defense, maybe.
Okay. All right, level 3. Let's see what we get. Serpent Style. You gain proficiency with the glaive, halberd, pike, trident, and similar spears and polearms. These weapons count as monk weapons for you, even if they have the heavy or two-handed properties. Furthermore, your grace and mastery of these weapons do not limit your ability to make unarmed strikes while wielding a two-handed weapon. Okay? While wielding a quarterstaff, spear, or trident in 2 hands, that weapon gains the reach property.
Oh, okay. Oh. All right. We're going to get to reach out and touch people. All right.
There is a little bit of a disclaimer, I think, with that, because just the weapon gets reach. You don't get reach with your unarmed strikes.
Right, but
so if you're like flurrying or something, you still have to be close.
Yeah, it's not increasing your unarmed strike melee range. Right, that is an important distinction.
So
there.
It kind of gives me a little bit of Kensai Monk vibes, because you can pick kind of whatever weapons you want.
Right,
but these just gives you a specific type of
and it's
full arm.
These kind of go against the normal grain of monk weapons in general. Everything's like these big, long, with the exception of quarterstaffs. Like normally you're
Sure.
doing that with monk weapons.
Yeah, I think not really any RP going on with that one, but some interesting combat potential synergy for the reach.
Yeah.
Maybe if you do some feat stuff.
I really think it opens up a lot of opportunities for feats that you wouldn't normally think of with monk, like Sentinel, because if you have the extra reach with the weapon, would be kind of really cool with that. And great weapon master, because you've got 2-handed weapon options, and a monk would be kind of fun.
Yeah, true. All right. Also at 3rd level, we have Serpent Spring. You can use polearm weapons to vault into the air. While you are wielding a weapon with the reach property, your jump distance is doubled. Okay, so it's like all the time. While wielding a weapon with a reach property, when you expend a key point to use your Step of the Wind feature, your jump distance is instead tripled for the turn, and you gain advantage on your next melee weapon attack you make this turn. Oh. So you're flying?
I mean, essentially, you're going to get my brain immediately goes like, this is almost like doubling your movement speed and then some with, like if you were doing what's the cat race? I'm drawing a blank on it.
Tabaxi.
Yes. So you do play a Tabaxi this, and you literally just run quarter of a mile every turn.
Yeah.
And, with the jump speed like that. So that's really interesting, I guess, because it's just going to make you ultra mobile, getting to not only like any flat surface, but any vertical surface.
Right,
like,
true.
Like stuff that's flying, you could jump straight up and hit it. Of course, you're going to run into the issue of like how does falling damage work if you jump so high? But it's part of your ability, so it doesn't say it negates any fall damage, though.
Not yet, at least. Well, actually, no, doesn't Monk innately get something later on? I can't remember what level that is, though.
It might.
But it gives you definitely some interesting options for the role play side of things, because exploration, you can get up on stuff, and you have that just triple distance for jumping. Like you said, you can really get up and over things, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, level 4, a base monk, use your reaction to reduce your falling damage taken by an amount equal to 5 times your monk level. So
pretty much negate it most times, unless you're falling from like a super, super high place.
Yeah, unless you're jumping like way up and then falling like forever. Yeah,
but based on because jumping is typically based on strength. So, you're a monk, so it's a little weird. But since you're doubling and tripling it, it's still going to be pretty solid.
Yeah.
All right, you want to do this one?
Oh, sure. So it looks like level 6, we're going to get Serpent Strikes. You learned the following techniques to augment your attacks. Cobra Strike, when a creature you can see moves into your reach, you can use your reaction to make one attack against the creature. So not just somebody leaving your melee range, but coming into your melee range as well, which also says your reach. So again, if you've got that 2-arm weapon or 2-handed weapon, you've got that extra reach anyway, so that's fun. We've got Python Strike. When you hit a creature with an opportunity attack, you can also use your Stunning Strike on that attack without expending a key point.
Oh, what?
Ooh, that's violent. Because, you're basically going to say, like, I'm never using any reaction ever, except for just, like, regular opportunity attacks. Because you're getting all 3 of these. This is not a choice.
Right.
So, your Cobra Strike, if somebody were to come at you, you can use your reaction to make an attack. And you can use your Stunning Strike as part of that reaction. Somebody coming up to you is like, oh, you're going to come hit me? No, your turn's over. You're stunned.
I guess it would depend on DM discretion, because, like, Sentinel, I believe, has the wording, you can make an opportunity attack. Because it says when you make an opportunity attack, so I guess it's a little bit of a gray area there.
Right.
But, you're using your reaction to make an attack. That's what an opportunity attack is. So, I think it falls in the same category. That's very interesting.
I would think so. But I guess, that would be something you need to be clear on ahead of time.
Yeah.
And also, last we have Viper Strike. Once on your turn, when you hit a creature with a melee weapon attack, you can expend 1 or more key points equal to the number of your proficiency bonus. The attack deals 1d6 poison damage plus 1d6 additional poison damage per key point spent, and the target is poisoned until the end of your next turn. So there's no save, on the poison condition, which is, heck, even to me, better than the extra poison damage, because so many things resist poison. But most of the things, if they resist poison, are also immune to the poison condition.
A lot of times, yeah.
So that's going to be really, really good early, I think. As you get later, it's going to start tapering off, because a lot of things resist poison in the condition.
Yeah, no, that's
but again, if you figure that out, you can just drop 1 key point to kind of test it. If you figure out that they're resistant to poison damage, you won't go do anything. We won't try it again.
Yeah, 1 key point's not that
much.
Because
one key point just to see if you can poison them is totally worth it.
And it's, even
there's no save for it. So if they're not, immune to the poison condition, the extra 1d6 poison damage is fine, but you're more concerned about making them poisoned for the effect than the actual damage. That's way more potent.
Yeah, that's way better. It's part of utility for that.
Yeah, for sure. So this is really leaning into, so far, helping the monks' secondary effects be a lot more impactful and powerful, giving you more opportunities to get your Stunning Strike off, which is the best thing that base monk can do, in my humble opinion.
And I think that's really good too, because it doesn't use a key point.
Right,
to do that, and you don't have to, because it can feel kind of bad using Stunning Strike normally, because you're not high in wisdom typically as a monk.
This is true.
So you don't usually have that high of a save. But if it's free, you just have that chance to do it. You don't have to worry about burning out of key points trying to do it or whatever. Very interesting, especially I think so far I'm seeing a lot of synergy for just the base class.
Oh yeah, heck.
Let's see. 2 more abilities looks like. Level 11, we have Serpent Stances. At the start of your turn, you can adopt a Serpent Stance. No action required. Very important. When you do, choose one of the following Serpent Stances, which last until you're incapacitated or use the feature again. Anaconda Stance. While using this stance, increase the reach of your melee weapon attacks and unarmed strikes by 10 feet. Increase it. If you already have reach.
Right, but this would also get your unarmed strikes too. Yeah. So your unarmed strikes would reach 15 feet, and your melee weapons would be 20.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Yeah, you're reaching out everything for at least
it falls into melee. Like that mid-rangey Sun Soul kind of monk.
Yeah, you can really just float through like the middle of combat effortlessly. Like, yeah. Because few things have a reach bigger than that anyway, so you get to like massive stuff.
That's some good, especially when you factor in the Python Strike and Cobra Strike and stuff. Because if you're in that reach area, you can kind of just get in the middle of the battle and just be a hindrance. Like people can't run through the middle of the battlefield because if they do, you're going to be triggering all these opportunity attacks and stuff. Mm-hmm. Which is interesting kind of utility. Second option, we have Black Mamba Stance. While using this stance once per turn, when you miss with a weapon attack, you can take 1 reaction on every turn in combat instead of once each round. Wait a
minute. So you're telling me once per turn, when you miss with a weapon attack, you can take 1 reaction on every turn in combat. So if you miss, you could be trying to stunning strike everybody else on their turn if they happen to come through your range.
It's a little weirdly worded, I think, because it says once per turn when you miss with a weapon attack. So say it's the enemy's turn, they try to run past you, you missed with a weapon attack, use your reaction. But then you can take 1 reaction on every turn in combat instead of once each round. So
it's
a little weird.
Once per turn when you miss a weapon attack, you can take 1 reaction every. So it's. Oh, that is really very strange.
It is worded.
So I guess the question is if you hit an opportunity attack, does it like quit stacking there? Basically, is it saying like because if you hit an opportunity attack, you've triggered it. But you didn't miss. But if you miss the first like attack, could you just keep going until you? It sounds because to me you could interpret it as like a bad luck proof thing,
right? Yeah,
where you just keep going until you hit somebody with one.
That's kind of what I'm getting the vibe from it. I think it might almost be a typo or something here. It might have meant to been once on your turn or once on your, like if you miss on your turn for the rest of that round, you can use reaction. But it says once per turn you can use when you miss the weapon attack, you can take 1 reaction on every turn. It's like. Does that mean, okay, so I use my reaction for an opportunity attack and I miss. Can I use another reaction on this turn?
You know what I mean? That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. Anyways, I guess that one's up to DM discretion, but I can see the kind of idea behind it. I would leave it up to DM to how do they want to interpret that, how it actually works. But basically, I think bad luck protection is the concept behind it, which is always nice to have.
Yes. Because people like me exist.
Yeah. 96% chance to hit with...
Gosh,
literally
that just happened. It's way too soon to be bringing it back up.
Kuatal Stance. While using this stance, you gain a flying speed equal to your walking speed. So, flying monk with reach. You can just kind of hover, kind of float above the battlefield.
I just imagine you're like 15 feet off the ground, just whopping stuff on top of the head.
Yeah, that could be super annoying.
It's like you're fighting a barbarian or a fighter type creature or anything that's like a beast or whatever, and you're just like flying above its head, whacking it at the top of the head, and it can't reach you.
Yeah,
that's kind of funny.
There's no limit to these, so it's like you need flying, you just switch stance to flying, and now you can fly.
Right, because it's just at the start of every turn. No action required. You can just adopt a stance, which lasts until you change it.
Yep.
Or incapacitated.
So you need to fly up on a ledge. You give yourself flying. You fly up there. You switch back to Anaconda stance or something.
Yep.
So very good for exploration. So we got the jumping, good, and then later on you get the flying. Very good.
Yes.
Mirrorless stance. While using this stance, you can take 1 reaction on every turn in combat instead of once each round. Okay.
So yeah, there's got to be something going on here where like the Black Mamba stance and the Marilyn stance are like double dipping here.
Yeah, they seem very similar at first glance. Maybe someone in the comments can help us, because really this is the first time we're looking at it. So trying to interpret it,
unless we're misinterpreting like the Black Mamba stance. Because I'm going back, I'm rereading this again, and it's like, wait a minute, what is this saying to me?
Well, they both have the last instead of once each round, which is weird. And they both say take 1 reaction on every turn in combat. It's just the first part. Once per turn when you miss weapon attack versus all the time. So I don't know why you would ever just not just do Marilyn.
Yeah, if you're wanting that feature, just take the Marilyn stances. You can just take a reaction. You don't have to miss.
Right.
To trigger it. So
I guess maybe it's with that one. I don't know. I feel like you just take Marilyn stance.
Yeah.
I feel like there's maybe something that got missed there in editing, possibly. Maybe there wasn't supposed to be both of them or something. It just seems weird because they're literally the same thing, except that one has one extra little part right here.
They're slightly different as like how they're triggered, but the Marilyn stance doesn't require anything to trigger it. It just happens.
Right. Like this, just this part here is the only difference.
Right.
So that is weird. So I don't know what's going on there, but we'll just keep going because I don't want to spend too much time trying to figure that out.
It had me thrown like, what is going on with this? Anyway, yeah. On to the capstone.
Yes. Oh, I think we're going to have a 2-pager here.
Oh, we've got Supreme Serpent. When you adopt a Serpent stance, you can instead adopt 2 Serpent stances at the same time, gaining the benefits of both effects. Period in a sentence? Is that the capstone?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, that's a little lackluster for me.
Agreed.
Considering 2 of these 4 are pretty much the same thing for most circumstances.
Yeah. So
basically, you just the reach and flying all the time seems probably the go-to, or if you want to be, depending on the scenario, if you're indoors or something, maybe you want to have. I think the reach all the time is going to just be good.
And maybe the only reason why it wouldn't be is if you were trying to do. I mean, because you're not going to do. Yeah, you're not going to play. This isn't like Sun Soul Monk. You're not playing ranged, so you would want the melee reach.
Yeah. Well, you get reach, and then you can extend it. 20-foot reach is a lot of reach.
Right. Yeah.
So it is what it is on there, I guess.
If you just take the Anacondans, would you rather have the flying? Would you rather have the reactions every time? So it's just personal preference to play style.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have the crazy jumping stuff if you use the. I can't. I haven't mained a monk, so I can't keep track of all the step of the wind. It's like the key point let you move.
Right. Yeah, I've not played a monk in a while.
Yeah, that's the terms. Like I know you can spend a key point to double your movement speed. You can spend a key point to disengage. Like you can do all that. I still don't know what the term is.
Yes, because they're not called those things. They had to make it more flavorful, I guess.
Yeah, step of the wind.
Yes.
So step of the wind lets you jump anyway. That's the capstone does seem a little lackluster compared to everything else. I love everything else about this, really, with the exception of the weird thing going on with the 2 stances being almost identical in some strange reason. The rest of this is really fun. I was concerned that I was going to see a lot of poison stuff, and we've made our problems known with poison damage being resistant and all that jazz. Yeah. But the rest of this I really, really like. It's just the capstone feels like we should get something else besides just the double stance thing. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess we can go into the ratings. We'll try to keep the ratings short since we've already kind of discussed everything. Pretty much here. But just initial thoughts. Roleplay. Asterisk, as always. Talking about roleplay, we're talking about interacting with the world around you, interacting with NPCs, non-combat scenarios, avoiding combat, basically things outside the initiative order. We're not talking about your class fantasy, history, lore, background. That's on you as a player. We can't rate you, but we can rate the abilities gained in those subclass and how it might improve your potential in those roleplay scenarios.
Yes.
So, all that being said, I think there's really only a couple things that you get for roleplay, which would be the jumping distance and the flying speed at 11.
Yeah, you're getting some exploration stuff. There's not really any social interaction stuff in here at all.
So I think with that, I would probably score it. I'm gonna say 1.5 is what I'm thinking.
That's where I was going initially too. Yeah, I feel like it's really potent exploration with being able to like super jump and eventually fly at will, but like it's specifically that and only that. Like there's no skill proficiencies, no no extra languages, background stuff at all. It's just like you are a super athlete for exploration, and that is it.
Right, and my thing too is why it's not a little bit higher is with flying by level 11. It's not that hard to have flying in multiple different ways. Now, but the fact that you have it all the time is great. But
and there's also no cost to it for you either.
Right. I mean, even if you were an Aarakocra monk from the start, you'd be able to fly. So there's things like that do exist in the game. So
that's why you would play an Aarakocra monk when I mentioned playing a monk. It's too good.
Right. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. So obviously onto the combat side of things, if something is that low focused on RP, it's going to be much more focused on the combat side of things, which clearly it is. You're getting a lot of extra ways to use your key. The stunning strike thing is just otherworldly to me. Yeah, like you said, even though you may not have a super high save unless you put more into your wisdom, this is going to give you just, again, enough chances you're going to hit it more than you would have otherwise, just because you're going to be able to do it so much more often. Mm-hmm. The extra melee reaches, flying chances, reactions all the time to help you do that more. A poison condition that doesn't have a save attached to it. I like what this is really giving you. It's just like I said, the capstone really hurts me from going higher than the number in my head. So in my head, I'm going 4.
Yep, that's what I was thinking as well. Like, you get some solid options, but it takes a little bit of time early on because you're getting the reach, which is great, but it's a little awkward, I think, because of the reach for the weapons, but not for unarmed strikes.
Yeah, I feel like you really need 6. Like, level 6 in this is really huge because you're getting the extra stunning strike chances and doubling your opportunities for opportunity attacks. It's entering your range and whatever else, plus the poisoning, and none of those cost you anything except for 1 plus, 1x key points for the poison condition thing, but it has no saves. That's worth it for one, just for that condition. And 11, all the different choices there's good viable options. But the pre-6 does kind of feel like you're not getting a ton. But 6 and 11 both give you really nice bulk of like very high floor, reliable stuff. So
yeah, I agree. And lastly, synergy. I think there's some good internal synergy, and also you get key point usage here with the Step of the Wind for the jumping. But that's really, that and the Viper Strike are your 2 extra key point usages that you get for the subclass. Which I think the Viper Strike is really a solid one to use, even if you can get the free extra poison damage, that's great. But like you said,
the poisoning condition is just a way better option.
Is awesome.
Sure.
But if you can get like 5d6 poison damage extra, and it is fine for 1 key point, that's pretty good. Yeah. If they're not resistant, so I'll take that any day. Of
course, it does. Besides just like the key point stuff, is for synergy. It makes you much more reliable as a monk with the melee reach, flying if you want it, more chances for opportunity attacks. So that it helps you get your other stuff in besides just the more ways to spend your key points, which I really like.
Yep, for sure. So I was thinking on the roleplay, the synergy. I was thinking also a 4 because you get a couple options for key points. You get some solid options for range to help you, get a little bit more battlefield control.
I'm fine with that.
Reach can also be a little awkward. This is why why I'm thinking of 4. Yeah, is because when you have reach, when opportunity attacks come up, they only trigger when they leave your reach. So if they stay really close to you, you're not going to be getting the opportunity attacks. You kind of want to float in between enemies. So once they kind of get in and they actually get to you, you can just hit them normally, but you're not going to get those special opportunity attacks like stunning strike and stuff. Yeah. So you have to really position yourself well to take full advantage.
This is true.
But yeah, a really interesting subclass. If you guys want to see more from this book, let us know. Yeah. Throw out some suggestions maybe for the next subclass to review from here, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, normally when we do some of these other third-party ones, we do normally be like, okay, name alone of these 3, which one do you like? It's like, that one. It just sounds fun. So we just go pick that one. So it's kind of a fun way to do it. But if there's a particular one on the list that you guys saw when you were reading through this, and everybody's like, freaking that one. Like, okay, let's do it.
All right, guys, let us know down below. That's going to be it for today. If you liked the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell notifications so you know when all of our new videos are coming out. And as always, thanks for watching.